And we are live. Good evening, good
Yes.
afternoon, and good morning to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Dina Voloni. I am the host of this live. Today I have the pleasure to be with Ola, Coach Ola, Olayinka Aremu. Hi Ola, how are you? Nice to have you here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. All the way from Ireland, Republic of Ireland.
Let me just check if you're live. Yes, we are. Let me stop. Okay. Live we have always to check
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
data. Okay. Can you hear me properly? Yeah.
All the way from Ireland, Republic of
Sorry. Okay. Can you hear me, Ola?
Yes, I can hear you. I just muted myself there. I can hear you very well. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Okay. So today live is about. Sorry if I'm looking here. I just finished to connect with my phone. In today's live, we talk about Ola new book. There is already on the shelf, isn't it? It's already been published. There we
Yes.
go. New, not a novice nurse. So I'm very pleased and honored to have Ola here in my show because this is Nurses Cultural Salon, my podcast. If you're watching from YouTube, please subscribe for more interview to exceptional, successful nurses from abroad. I'm so pleased to have Ola here today because among a lot of nurses, expert nurses, immigrant nurses, to talk about international nursing, how to move abroad. She is really an expert. So what she talked about is really true, and I recognize as a valuable colleague. As you know, I'm a career coach for international nurses, and she is too. So I'm very pleased to have her on board. Um, so please help me to welcome her in this show. Hola, she will start to talk about where you come from, what is your story. So please introduce yourself. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Anastina there. Thank you. And thank you, Nurses Move, for hosting me here to talk about my story and about my book, New Not a Novice Nurse. Yes, my name is Olayinka Aremu. I'm just commonly known as NurseCoach Ola, or you can simply call me Ola for convenience sake. I'm originally from Nigeria, so I love talking about my journey. So this is a very favorite part for me. Yeah, Nigeria trained nurse and midwife and public health nurse from Nigeria, but I moved to Ireland 2017 and became registered as in the general nurse division in Ireland. Before I left Nigeria, I was a nurse tutor. I was lecturing in a school of nursing, as we call it. So, and I've always wanted to be in the classroom. I love teaching. I love coaching. I say I'm also a nurse coach, as I say. So I love coaching. I love teaching anytime, any day. So it was a big shift for me. A big shift for me to come to start working in a nursing home with older people. But that's part of the journey. So it took me 7 years. Intentional with intentional move and strategies, which are part of the things I shared in my book as well, to get back to academics. So I'm really, really proud of myself, and I'm really grateful to God as well that at the moment now I am an assistant professor in nursing, in one of the top university here in Ireland, and I'm really, really grateful for that. But it didn't just come in a day. Like, it involves strategy, which I didn't really know it was strategy, right? I was just following my path and my vision and my passion and all that. But I know that this is also can be challenging, like it could be challenging for international educated nurse. So just to have that, apart from me being a nurse and all that, I also lead an association, the Association of Nigerian Nurses in Ireland. and currently also launched the Federation of African Nurses and Midwives in Ireland. So I kind of have almost an everyday. As a matter of fact, before this meeting, I just dropped on a call with a nurse, a new nurse, who is trying. She's struggling in her career pathway, and she just want somebody to guide her. And somebody told her about me, and then she reached out to me. So the struggles, the challenges that I face, that I experienced, they also, it's not an isolated experience. So every international educated nurse will have gone through one thing or the other. And the most, what I call it, concerning part is that nobody is it's there. Nobody is coming out to say, "Oh, I'm here. You can come to me. I can help you." You have to be all out looking for who to talk to. So it
Yeah,
was one of the challenges I faced because there's no community. There was no community, no group that, even though we know ourselves, but everybody's going through their own struggle. So who do you want to talk to? So, and that's, led me to say, okay,
exactly.
let's come together, form the association, kind of rejuvenate the association. And from there, I started getting all these requests from nurses. So putting together all the challenges, including mine, you know, I felt like, what else can I do? I can't be available to everybody every time, what schedule.
It's
So
true.
let me put down my experience, what has helped me in the book together so that it can reach everyone, anybody that needs it, any part of the world. So that's why we have today the new Not a Novice Nurse. So that's just a bit about my journey. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing, because the challenge that you face when you move to Ireland, that I face when I moved to UK, are pretty much the same for each international nurses, regardless where they come from, regardless where they want to move abroad. So I really thank you for your effort and to put together this book, and the fact that I love you to have you here talking about your book, even though I am about to release my book, is that because, as you said, you come with your experience, with your baggage from your country, and your experience from your country, and then your experience in your new home country put together can really share knowledge for international educated nurses. The same is applied to me. So I believe that we can just add value and resources that help to nurses, to international nurses in different way. And I think if the nurses, international nurses, pour our experience from both sides, they're gonna really enjoy their process, because as you said, you didn't know was a strategy, but then you understood that this can become a strategy. So you can move abroad with a strategy and feel less alone or lost. And the fact that you create this community, I want to thank you so much. Is something that I've done similarly, because when I start, I'm Italian, so I start with a Facebook group for Italian nurses who want to move abroad. Still there, growing, but then of course I decide to open to international nurses. But yes, thank you very much. So um, as you said, nurses face several challenges when they move abroad. Um, so your book provides with valuable information and support that they needed for these international educated nurses. Could you highlight some key resources of support system that you discuss in your book that you want to share with us, with this
Oh,
audience today? Thank you.
oh yeah, yes. Can you hear me? Can you
Yes, I
hear
think
me?
there is a little lag between us,
Oh yeah.
but yes.
Okay. Yes. So thank you so much. Yeah. First of all, I'll just mention, like, I couldn't cover everything, that I really I could have covered in the book. Otherwise, the book is going to turn to
Mhm.
encyclopedia. You know, I took my time to really see what are the most important, right? Things that could go into the book, because the challenges are enormous. It's not one, it's not two, it's not even 10, it's not even 20. Because, like you said, everybody has their own journey. And for every
Yeah.
international nurses education, for every international education educated nurse journey comes with different experiences. So me working with nurses that relocated to any part of the world, so it's not just to Ireland. So there was a time I founded a group, Synergy International Nursing Network, where we support nurses to go either to Ireland, UK, or wherever, just supporting them with the coaching, ILCS. So I've really interacted with international nurses across the globe, and I realized that everybody has their own journey and their own experience. So every day something is coming up. So I'm just saying that I could not have covered everything in the book. Even like I was really worried at the time that it was almost getting to 200 pages. So I had to stop, like, because people would get discouraged. Nobody wants to spend time
Absolutely.
with, you know. So I had to stop. So what I did after was to start a podcast session inviting internationally educated nurses to share their story. So whatever thing that was not covered in the book might be mentioned. So at the moment, I think we were able to do 7 episodes before I put a pause to it. So, but the aim is to still go back to it. So for this book, I have 10 chapters, and
Okay.
the first chapter, talks about the transition journey, the leap across the borders. That's enthusiasm, the zest, the passion. Everybody, I want to relocate, I want to move abroad. It comes with all that positive feelings, the way it is. But nobody will tells you that it's going to be bumpy, or there are going to be challenges. We
Mhm.
are all positive about it. So I shared a bit of my experience as well, and seeing like what you can do. So this part is actually introducing people who are aspiring. Maybe they have not moved, but they are on the process. They're in the process. So you will know what to expect before you finally move. Then the second chapter there talks about navigating certification and licensing, which are very core, a lot of challenges, the English language proficiency, even some trainings that you have to do once you get in, all the way of how to navigate verification of licensing and all. So I talk about that, and not just to Ireland again, talk about US, UK, Australia. So I kind of go around and give some summary of what you should expect regarding how to navigate your certification and licensing. And the third chapter there, I wrote a letter to the new nurse, in this case, the new internationally
Oh,
educated nurse, as well as, can you hear me?
yes, yes. I think it's
Okay.
fascinating. So I'm smiling because I like
Yeah.
the idea of a letter.
Yeah.
It's so
So
cute.
yeah, I
Thank
wrote
you.
the
Yeah,
letter.
yeah.
It's a dear nurse. That's the letter. So I wrote the letter to the nurse, the new nurse, as well as the nurse managers, the host nurses, and maybe nurse leaders. So that was a very beautiful letter
Okay.
to everybody, because
Okay.
it's not just about the new nurse. Even if you want to support them, we also need to talk about the host nurses and the nurse managers in the world, the preceptors, and all that. Everybody has a role to play when it comes to supporting the internationally educated. And so I just saw a bit of a letter there in that chapter. Then the chapter 4, it's bridging the career gap. This is the most interesting path for me, because it did play a key role to where I am at the moment. Like I said, a lot of people had 12 years experience back in their home country, right? But they have to start from the scratch when they move. So how do you bridge that
Mhm.
gap? How do you align your experiences with your current healthcare system demand where you are? So I talked about that, how you can move from that level where I was a nurse tutor, but I had to start from a staff nurse. And by the grace of God, now I am an assistant professor in the academia again. So how did I get to that level, within that short
Exactly.
period? And the chapter 5, I talked about cultural integration and competency in nursing. This is very
Hmm.
important. So everybody must have experienced a culture shock. Maybe you didn't even know it was culture shock. But, in this book, you will
Exactly.
know
It's
that it
true.
was culture shock. And it could be natural, it is normal, but a lot of people we respond to it differently. It could be mild to some people, and we have people that, because of culture shock, they actually lost interest in nursing, or even left nursing, or even gave up on this on themselves. So being able to integrate properly into the new culture, and especially when it comes to competency, cultural competence in nursing, to your patient, to the diverse population of patients that we have. So that chapter took care of that. Chapter 6 was
Yeah.
about embracing technology in healthcare. Like
Okay.
most, especially from countries, low middle income countries, we were not exposed to the use of technology in healthcare. But over here, you just bump into it. Right from even the equipment that is being used, everything is technologically, driven. So for some of us, for me, I struggled a little bit, especially using Epic Care in a nursing home for all the care plan. I didn't know anything about that. And you're just expected to flow with it. So it requires
Yeah, it's true.
a lot of effort. So I talk a bit about what you can expect when it comes to use of technology in healthcare, especially for those who didn't really know about that. Yeah, I like some of the tools. Okay, can you hear me?
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
some
hear.
some some tools you can use to get yourself grounded and to get yourself going so you're not lost. I talked about that. Then chapter 7 was focused on healthcare communication for internationally educated nurse. So I know that we have done, for most people, for those who require English language proficiency, you have your IELTS, maybe score 9 or even 10, but by the time you get to the system, you see that your
It's not
IELTS
the
cannot
same.
sustain you. It's a different ball game. How you receive information. How do you struggle? A lot of people struggle even to hear what people are saying. Yeah, I had my own fair, share as well. That and you will be feeling like, I don't want to say yes. What did you say every time? And you don't also
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
want to accept that you understand something and you don't. It causes a lot of conflicts. So how do we handle that? What are the resources to use? So I talk a bit about how to navigate that. Then chapter 8, it's something that people really hardly talk about. It's mental and emotional well-being. Now, in the midst of all the
Mhm.
struggles, how will the international educated nurse be able to have sound mental health? You know, I was saying earlier, that somebody I was speaking with, one nurse, and she said she actually resigned at the point because she was experiencing bullying, she was experiencing a whole lot of
Mm.
struggle, and she could not cope. And this was just within 3 months of getting to the country. She resigned, and it took the effort of the HR and all that to bring to help her to unsign the letter before she got back to work. So you can imagine that emotional struggle. So how do we as international educators balance this? And for people from Africa, I'm just saying this, we have this cultural attitude or behavior that we don't want to share what we are going through. We believe that by
Mm.
sharing, maybe that means that you are weak. So we want to conceal things. And by concealing whatever you're going through, you're hurting yourself the more. And then by the time you're now talking, it's too late, kind of. So that chapter talks about that. And chapter 9, it's how to navigate conflicts as a new nurse. So as a new nurse, I have experienced bullying, I have experienced racism, I experienced micromanagement and a whole lot of that. So how do we navigate conflicts between nurses, nurse to nurse, or colleagues, or even patients? So how do we do that? Because your ability to know how to respond or to navigate this will determine if you will remain in that profession or not, right? And the last chapter
Yes.
there was just, like I said, I started a podcast session with inspiring stories from other internationally educated. So you won't just be hearing from me, because otherwise it will look like it's just all about her. So I kind of, collated different stories from different international educators across the globe. And from that discussion, like, it was really obvious that we have similar experiences, and how people were able to, respond to those, challenges individually. So you can actually learn from those as well. I put a bit of some extra, let me put it like extra points for you there in this book. So I call the 40 affirmations about your nursing skill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So while I was writing this book, especially towards the end of it was a reflection journey for me as well, of where I was and where I am and where I want to get to. And sometimes, as a new nurse, remember the title of the book is New, Not a Novice Nurse. In some instances,
Mhm.
you are made to feel, sometimes not even like you're made to feel, you start feeling less of yourself. You start feeling like you're not competent enough, or people start making you feel that you're not competent enough. But actually, what you were going through at that time was just a period of transition. All you needed was
Mhm.
support. So, what I think I didn't do apply this then, but I felt like if I had these 40 affirmations or more, you can add to it yourself. It will constantly remind me of what I was made of, of my skills, of my expertise. So I
Exactly.
put there 40 affirmations about your nursing skill. I actually did a challenge. I think it was a 20-day challenge, and I tagged it brag about your nursing skills, BNSC. I
Mhm.
encourage even the public to do that. Nurses generally across the globe, brag about your nursing skill. As a new nurse, as a new international nurse, you should be able to own up your skills and say, this is what I can do. Fine, I might be in a new country, I might be in a new healthcare system, but I am skillful, in communication. You have to constantly remind yourself, because I tell you, situations will want to dampen your spirit, and this happens a lot of time. So that's just a summary of the book. Thank you.
This is so fascinating. And I was listening all the time. Sorry, I just tried to go to the comment through my phone while keeping the technology up and running with the StreamYard. So sorry, but
Yeah.
um, because LinkedIn doesn't allow a member to actually comment if they don't give permission for the privacy. So I was looking for my phone to check if there were any comment on LinkedIn, but
Mm.
um, agree with you. So many points. The fact of cultural adaptation is so important. We talk about migration failure all the time, depression, people that or they feel the need to come back to their own country. They feel failure because they have to give up of their dream just because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the right support that could help them, or
Yeah.
people that start to have a wrong habit, very unhealthy habit, because they feel so depressed that they don't know how to cope, and so they ruin their life abroad, or also their career abroad, because they don't know how to cope. I'm so sorry for that nurse that they share their experience, that actually decide to resign. um, but I really understand because I'm Italian, and as I think as Italian, my culture is much more similar to African culture than not to North European culture, and we do the same. We don't really share where we are on struggle. We really try to keep to ourselves, unless we are really with someone we close that we feel that we can share a little bit to ask some advice. But I'm telling you that I always be a very confident person, very strong person. When I moved to UK, this is true that I moved after 2 years of losses. Um, a couple of members of my family that get very sick, so we went up and down the hospital, and then they died. And so when we moved, we already have two little kids. So we come from a rough time when we moved in UK, but because of my English, and as you say, you passed the exam, but it's not enough, because sometimes you cannot understand what they say, because the majority of the time people speak in slang, and you don't study slang, you study English, you study the language. So if someone speaks to you in slang, you don't understand. So I remember that my confidence really dropped so much, and before I was able to gain back, it took me some time. So I really appreciate that you shared this story. I'm sorry for that, nurse. But I would like to take an opportunity to ask you if you can share some other story of some other nurse that you interview, because in this podcast, successful um, um, Nursing Cultural Salon, which is the podcast that I host on YouTube, Nurses Move. I interview successful nurses from all over the globe. So, can you share a successful story of one of your um, guests, please? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So now you can find these, like I said, the stories. Can you hear me? The stories are more
Yes, I
in
can hear you.
chapter 10. They're in the chapter 10 of the book, right? So I think, like I said, I had 7 episodes done, 7 episodes done.
Okay.
And I had to pause because at the moment, even I had backlog of people that I showed interest for, but I could not interview them. So you can get more details, but I'm just going to summarize. So there is one, she's in the UK at the moment, right? So, and the way I did it, I asked them questions. So this lady, she, I'm just trying to go through the links because I can't remember everything. Our own major challenge
Oh,
was financial constraints, financial
okay.
constraint was for
Mhm.
her, and this journey started even before she got to the UK. So the way for certain countries that they are even less, they are not well remunerated, so even to get the money for the process, it's really daunting. Talking about IELTS, and if you
Mhm.
don't pass the IELTS, you have to receipt, you have to write again and again and again,
Yeah,
or OET that
yeah,
is so expensive. So because of this, for her, the relocation process took longer, due to those kind of delays. But when she was eventually successful, the UK process, you have to do the CBT and then you do the OSCE. It's just an
yeah,
overwhelming experience. But because of the excitement that you're finally going to the UK, especially when to get a job, you know, and and that's another challenge, even getting a job, getting a sponsor or so. And if you don't get a sponsor, can you self-sponsor yourself? So as the days rode
yeah.
by, according to her, the reality dawned on her that she is now an RN by the time she got a pin. And one thing is, once you have your RN, then as soon, it's just like you have it, then you can lose it. Because you have it, that means that you can lose it. So
Yeah,
and
exactly.
she got overwhelmed because of that. And being like you're walking on eggshell every time in the ward, you found like you are doubting your abilities. She found that she was feeling uncertain, and she had to constantly remind herself that I graduated from nursing school, I performed well, so why can't I do things? But the anxiety will be there, especially depending on the work environment. If we work in a work environment where they're always almost criticizing everything, you feel like you are being washed, be micromanaged. So it's not the best environment for
Yeah,
new nurses to grow or to do well. Naturally, you will make mistake, you make error if you are being washed and being every time, like somebody it's looking over your head every time. So, but what she did was that she took her personal development very serious. She just invested in her personal development. A lot of people are self-driven like that, but so for people who might need extra push, then you need to be part of a community or look for a mentor. What I did at the time was that I knew that I needed to navigate. So I reached out to somebody, bless her soul, she's late now, Professor Lacerina, and I sent her an email that I would like you to be my mentor. And, because I took a course, an evidence-based practice model, that she coordinated. So I saw the way, she did it. I reached out to her, sent her an email, and she responded to me that she's happy to do that. But you know what she did? Of blessed memory now, she sent me a link of one of her books. She said, buy this, my book, read chapter 6. And after reading the chapter 6, if you still need me, come back to me. I didn't go back to her because that chapter 6 alone was like an eye opener for me. And up till now, I can still make reference to it. You understand what I mean? So it's getting mentor, talking
absolutely.
to somebody. So taking your self development and personal development very serious. So alongside, I tell you, this lady now that shared her story, she's a nurse strategist herself. She's a coach. She's helping people to navigate bedside nursing. And I think of recent she moved outside bedside, so she's no longer working in the bedside, and now she's helping other nurses who want to move from being a bedside nurse maybe to tech nurse, to other side hustles and all that. So she did well for herself, and now she's doing helping others as well, who want to do this. So, like I said, every individual international educator has their own story. I know of there's another lady that she's in the US, so she's also on the podcast. You can look at, just go to NurseCoach Ola on my YouTube channel. You will find these episodes there. She had, I think she said, 6 month old baby. She left a 6 month old baby back in Nigeria when she was going to the US, and she had
Oh,
other kids as well. You can imagine that financial, family, challenges, and that alone can affect your everyday life as a nurse. Thinking about your child, thinking about your
absolutely.
family. And for certain countries that family unification isn't so straightforward and smooth. It takes time, a year and a half, 2 years before you can get your family in some countries. For me, it took me 1.5 years
Yeah,
before I could reunite with my family. So those are some of the challenges. You need a support system, and yeah, you have to be very resilient, I must say. So one thing that was common out of all the stories, connecting everyone together, is the resilience. Is the resilience, and that spirit of being persistent, that I want to do this and I'm going to do it, and being able to connect with other people as well. So that's one way I can just touch on all the stories, and but again, you find more details in the book. Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Tito, for your participation. Yeah, and I completely agree. Transformation is so important when we move abroad. We basically change. We are not the
Hmm.
same. And if we are not able to settle and thrive, and we decide to go back home, we won't be the same anyway. So we're going to face another cultural shock again, because we're not the same anymore. So I absolutely agree. And congratulations to these nurses. I believe they are very happy to be part of your book. Yeah.
Definitely,
So
definitely. And one of the things they actually said, one of them said, and I can't forget this. She said, one thing she liked about the book, or being part of the book, was because she finally got a validation of her experiences,
absolutely,
that she was not alone. Because otherwise, she was feeling like, why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to go through that? But hearing other people's story, and even reading the book herself, because what I did, that they had to go through the summary of the book, that it gave her a validation that she was not alone. That alone, like when I heard that, I was like, wow, if this is the only thing I get, the only feedback I get from this book, meaning that I wasn't just writing something out of my head. Like, the experiences were valid, the feelings were valid, the struggles. Like I put in post today, the struggles are real, real and reality. And the thing
yeah,
is,
absolutely.
you won't know it. You won't know it because you're not the one experiencing it, right? And how best can you now support somebody experiencing this? Is for you to listen to them and kind of show that kind of empathy, and not, well, you have your pin, you have to walk. Yes, we have our pin, we have to walk. But like a newborn baby, right? Though we are new, we are not a novice. But treating a new nurse as a novice, you're not helping that person. You are actually directly or indirectly trying
I mean,
to rip them off their confidence. And that's what happens.
yeah, it diminished
Yeah.
them. And as I say,
Mm-hmm.
I remember my experience. I completely lost my confidence. I come from 12 years international experience in Italy, and I also work for the American embassy. But when I move abroad, I move in a nursing home too. I used to work as an emergency first aid nurse, critical care nurse, and in management in Italy. When I moved in UK in a nursing home, yes, they moved me as a deputy, nurse quite soon, but still I lost my confidence so much, and I felt alone. I felt alone because despite I created this group of Italian nurses abroad, I was alone in my area, so I really faced, and I didn't know this challenge were actually common or were just mine. And I think the
Mm.
sharing story is so important. So thank you for doing with your book. I'm trying to do it with my podcast too. Yes, this is
Yeah.
important. So what are you doing? So now you wrote this book. What else you do to help international nurses? Because you say that you're part of the Nigerian Association of Nurses in Ireland, is right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, honestly, I feel now that half of my life it's about internationally educatedness. I'm currently doing my
I agree,
PhD.
and I relate. I relate with you.
I feel like I was born for for nurses now, right? Not just a nurse, but
It's
also
true.
born
It's
for
true. It's true.
nurses. Um, yeah. So I'm currently doing my PhD, right? And my thesis is around care transitions for older people. So
Mhm.
my background now is geriatric nursing. So I have to carve that niche for myself when I go to Ireland. But I found out that half of my time, honestly, and I had to also try to program myself, schedule myself, and say no, to some
Of course.
calls,
Yeah.
and all that, because the needs is just there. Like the needs just keep increasing, right? So I do a lot with international nurses, not just for Nigerian nurses. So first of all, like I said, I'm the president of the Association of Nigerian Nurses. But by extension, now what we did recently, March, we launched the Federation of African Nurses and Midwives in Ireland. So it's not
Okay.
just Nigerian. So I'm the executive director of that. But I also work closely with every other international nurse. So the INMO, who is the trade union, for nurses in Ireland, just like they have the RCN. So we will have the international section. So, and I'm an active
Mhm.
member in DARO as well. But outside all these association, I've always been a nurse coach, career development coach, OET trainer, preparing them for the LSKI exam, for CBTs, for all the aptitude tests. I do all those trainings. I do training. I have trainings on business. So for nurses, I'm an entrepreneur myself. So I have a lot of business things that I do. So for nurses who want to go into business as well, so I do some coaching on branding, the way you just saw this kind of thing, like branding. So outside of junior, I still have a network of nurses internationally, you know, in my network for one thing or the other, even if it has nothing to do with Ireland. So I've always had nurses, and I felt like, wow, I could. There is a need there. There's a gap. I just find myself meeting one need or the other. It could be overwhelming. Sometimes very overwhelming, especially if you're not you just can't meet those needs. So what I did was just trying to network and build partnership with organizations that could help, and also try to empower the nurses themselves, other nurses, to take the lead. Because and one day I would just I don't want to die. I'm still very young. When you carry the
Of
burden of the
course.
whole world. So we just need to, and most importantly, it's empowering others as well. So empowering others to take up leadership role, empowering others to lead as well, to be there for one another. So we are not on this journey, even though we come to this world alone, but we are not supposed to just journey alone. We're supposed to help others, lift others up. So nurses lifting other nurses. That's something I'm
Yeah.
very passionate about. But some people want to, they really want to lead. They just need somebody to hold their hands. They just need somebody to show them the way. So
Mhm.
which I'm always available to do, and I've been doing for the past years. So I'm a big fan for mentorship. I started a nurse mentorship academy, as a matter of fact, active. So I would say altogether, I've mentored directly and indirectly nothing less than 2,000 nurses. and some that I can't even account for. So, but I believe that there are more people there who should be mentors, who should be active nurse leaders, and I'm sure they are listening to me now. So pick up your shoe. Let's go.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for sharing. And I think today we are sharing, we give an important message to the people that is we must collaborate also, because if we want to improve nursing, we must do it together. We can do by ourselves. And I thank you very much for what you're doing for nurses, for international educated nurses, for nurses in general. I'm smiling all the time because I really relate to do. The need is so much. There's some time you don't have a time, and you need time for yourself, for your family too. And the demand is high and it's increasing so much. So yes, we need other people that do this. This is a book. So we wrap up for the end of this interview. Thank you very much to be with me. Please say whatever you want. Um,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, no, like, so
I
just
try
to for those.
to give you. Let me give
Okay.
you. Let me remove myself, and I give you some
Okay.
time so you.
All right. So thank you so much for having me on this platform. I say that I'm in the UK, so I actually feel like I'm in the United Kingdom right now. So thanks to Nasdina for hosting this talk. This is part of my global tour. So for those that don't know, as part of the launch process or the launching package for my book, New Not a Novice, I'm currently, going on a worldwide tour, right? Virtually and physically. So this is my first virtual tour to the UK. I should be having a physical tour before the end of this year, hopefully by November. But I'm open to invitations. If you want me to come and talk to your group of nurses, either virtually or physically, you can just contact me. But most importantly, how can you get this book? So it's very easy. You can just go on Amazon and type New Not a Novice Nurse. It's available both in ebook and paperback. So if you're in the UK, you can use the amazon.co.uk, but outside the UK, you can use amazon.com. They're both available on both platforms. And you can also get it via my website. So my website is ncohealthcareconsulting.ie. It's available there. For those in Ireland, to do you go, because I have 5% discounts. I'm not partial, right? 5% discount for those in Ireland, and you can get that book right in Ireland via the website only. And I will be shipping it to you myself. I do have a customized greeting card as well to anybody that gets this book in Ireland. I hope to get that as well to other sites. So thank you so much. And to everyone who has purchased this book, the support means a lot. My vision, or my vision is that every new nurse, and I mean it, every new nurse, every international educated nurse or new nurse in diaspora get the support that they need. Either you're getting this book or you're sponsoring somebody or you're gifting a nurse, the struggle is real. And honestly, we don't want to lose another nurse. If you're going through the news now going on in the UK, about all the shenanigans, happening with the NHS reports, the review, we see that nurses are going through a lot. And if you look at the statistics, these are internationally educated nurses. They are the most facing issues like fitness to practice. And all of this didn't just happen in a day. It's piling up, especially when there is lack of support. So let us support nurses all over the world. If you see a nurse today, please tell them that you're proud of them. Smile and let us be supportive to one another. And that's what this book is all about. It's a guide for internationally educated nurses to thrive abroad. I hope you thrive abroad, and I hope that you help other people to thrive as well. Thank you very much.
There we go. Thank you very much. It's been a so pleasure, honestly, talk with you and allow to share your book to my audience. Thank you so much. Um,
Thank you so
I
much,
think
Nazdina. And I
It's a
can't wait
pleasure.
for
It's a
you to
pleasure.
have your book out as well. What's the title? It's Awaken Us, The Awaken Us.
Yeah, the awakening expert nurse, and then the
Okay.
title continuum. There's a long explanation, but yeah, the awakening expert nurse. Still finished the editing. I really released the book challenge. The book challenge is finished already, actually. September,
Okay.
October is need to be decided date for my editor, but yes.
I
Anyway,
can't wait.
don't worry.
I'm
Is
sure.
is your book today, and I will leave the link below.
Yeah, I'll
Yes,
share
today
that
is
to
your book.
you.
So we talk about your book. I will leave. Okay. Yeah. And I leave in the comment section below. If you watch it from YouTube and you enjoy this video, please give us a thumb up and subscribe to the channel Nurses Move. If you are still watching from LinkedIn, we are at the end now, but you can watch the record. The recording is still there, and we hope you enjoyed this live. I really did. I really do. And thank you so much, Ola, for coming on board.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.